We got some breaking news as we come on the air tonight involving the Las Vegas Raiders and a potential blockbuster trade with none other than the Cincinnati Bengals for an all-pro defensive end to line up opposite of Max Crosby. All that and more on today's episode of the Raider D podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Tonight, we're going to be talking about some news that has come out about one Trey Hendrickson, a defensive all-pro from the Cincinnati Bengals, who is currently holding out with the Cincinnati Bengals as he is on a one-year deal and does not want to be. He wants out of Cincinnati, and Cincinnati apparently is now entertaining offers from other teams. And according to inside sources, the Las Vegas Raiders are making moves to try and acquire Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals and add him to this roster to really beef up this defensive line. Now, this makes perfect sense for the Las Vegas Raiders after losing Christian Wilkins and removing him from the team, as well as not paying him his final bit of his contract. That leaves the Las Vegas Raiders with $34 million in cap for this season. Now, Trey Hendrickson, who is he and why should the Raiders go out and grab this guy? We're going to get into that and break it all down, so stay tuned for the entire video because we're going to go through it all. Before we get into that, I do just want to say thank you to today's sponsor, which is none other than my boy Kevin Ross over at Box House, America's #1 provider of small tiny homes, ADUs, mother-in-law suites delivered straight to your doorstep. You don't want to miss out on this opportunity because Kevin Ross and Box House have the best prices in the country, and they are a class act as a company. I would not let them be a sponsor if they weren't. I've said it before. I've personally done business with them before they became a sponsor, so I can testify how great of a company this is. Go ahead and check them out. Phone number is on the screen and link to the website is down in the description. All right, guys, now that we got the bills paid, let's get into the nuts and bolts of this potential trade between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Las Vegas Raiders. This would be an absolute dream scenario for the defense of the Las Vegas Raiders in 2025. Trey Hendrickson, a 30-year-old defensive end from Cincinnati Bengals who has established himself as one of the NFL's premier pass rushers. At 6'4", the edge rusher was drafted by the New Orleans Saints in the 3rd round of the 2017 NFL Draft after playing college football at Florida Atlantic. His performance and achievements are outstanding. Hendrickson has been an absolute force since joining the Bengals in 2021. His statistical dominance includes 77 career sacks over his NFL tenure, league-leading 17.5 sacks in 2024, marking his 2nd consecutive season with that total. 4 consecutive Pro Bowl selections, 35 sacks over 2 seasons, earning the recognition as the reigning sack king. First team All-Pro selection in 2024, 2nd place finish in the Defensive Player of the Year voting for 2024, and winner of the 2024 Deacon Jones Award for leading the NFL in sacks. In his debut in 2021 season with Cincinnati, Hendrickson broke a record with the Bengals franchise, recording over 14 sacks, not over 14 sacks. He got 14 sacks to lead the team to the Super Bowl. Current contract situation is why this is even a possibility that he comes to the Raiders. Hendrickson signed a 4-year, $60 million contract with the Bengals in 2021. That contract is over. He's on a 1-year deal. And the Bengals just simply will not pay this dude. The 30-year-old has been firm in his stance, stating, recognition is not something I am chasing. Security is something that I value, and telling my wife where we're going to play. Those are the things that matter to me. This is according to Heavy.com. Despite reporting to training camp, Hendrickson has not practiced at all with the team and has not appeared in a single preseason game. Now, why are the Raiders a player in this potential trade? Well, because again, we lost Christian Wilkins, we have Malcolm Koonce coming off a torn ACL, and we don't know how he's going to perform. All reports coming out is that Malcolm Koonce has performed pretty well in the offseason and training camp, and he had a really good game against the 49ers where he had a 74.9-ish PFF grade in that game. So he did perform well. He does look like he's back. But if you compare him to Trey Hendrickson, it is night and day difference. Trey Hendrickson is the sack king for a reason. This dude is bigger, stronger, faster, has more repertoire of moves, and he is just all out better than Malcolm Kuntz. And so if the Raiders can make an upgrade to where you could have a Trey Hendrickson on one side getting 17 sacks, that's going to let Max Crosby do his thing and finally get that 16, 17, 18 sack number that he has been chasing since he came into the NFL. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals are actively listening to trade offers, according to reports, for Hendrickson, as contract talks have reached an impasse, and he said he wants out. According to NFL Network insiders, any deal will be expensive, likely requiring a young player and a future draft pick to pry him away from Cincinnati. I, on the other hand, disagree with this. I don't think it's going to be as expensive as some people are saying, because some people are literally saying that the Raiders would have to give up a young player like a Malcolm Kuntz and a first-round draft pick, which is absolutely nuts. You don't do that for a 30-year-old player that you're going to have to pay top dollar to. And therefore, when a guy has said, I'm not going to play for you at all this year, he's on a one-year contract, he's only 30 years old, they're going to have to cut him. They're just going to have to cut him, and some team is going to go out there and they're going to be able to scoop him up and pay him top dollar, and the Raiders are one of those guys. And therefore, I think that the Raiders have a very strong bargaining chip here. I think the Raiders could simply do a player-for-player trade. Both of them on our one-year contracts. Malcolm Kuntz, one-year contract. Trey Hendrickson, one-year contract. And Malcolm Kuntz is much cheaper. Therefore, the Raiders could just do a straight-up player-for-player. Trade Malcolm Kuntz, bring in Trey, boom, done, right? And now the Cincinnati Bengals got Malcolm Kuntz, who is more than happy to play on that one-year deal because it's a prove-it deal. He's a quality player, and so they're not losing out a ton by doing that because they get to save money and they get a defensive end. But the Raiders don't have to give up a draft pick because all the Raiders have to do, like any other team, is simply just wait this out. Because we have nothing to lose in this regard because we have Malcolm Kuntz. So the Raiders could simply just say, listen, Cincinnati, here's what we'll do. We'll give you a 25-year-old for a 30-year-old, defensive end for a defensive end, end of story. Malcolm Kuntz is going to play for you. He's not going to complain. We're going to bring in Trey. We're going to give him $28, $29 million a year on a 4-year deal. He's going to be happy and play for us. Everybody's a winner in this scenario. However, if you don't want to do that, you don't want to play ball with the Raiders, no problem. We'll just sit it out. And we'll wait to see what happens, because one or another thing is going to happen. Either you're going to pay Trey Hendrickson a big, massive deal, which you're refusing to do, or he's simply going to sit out and you're just going to have to cut him. And once you cut him, the Raiders can come in and swoop him up, or any other team. And if we don't get him, no big deal, because we still have Malcolm Kuntz. So the Raiders do not have to sell the farm for this dude, and we could literally get the two best edge rushers in the game currently